Mail-in ballots. He was fine with it.
Well, it was because his Republican strategists were panicking because they realized that they were going to lose without getting those mail-in ballots now. And I would imagine this time around, those same Republican strategists are also panicking because if he goes out there and starts to spread the word that mail-in ballots aren't going to work, this is going to be a real problem in the midterms.
Sam Seder joins Abby Phillip on CNN, and Donald Trump drops, "I'll ban mail-in voting by executive order." Okay, we'll roll the key clips, then I'll break down what Abby Phillip and Sam Seder get right and what Donald Trump gets wrong. Let's get into it.
Tonight, Donald Trump plays a throwback, declaring that he'll lead a movement to eliminate mail-in ballots.
Mail-in ballots are corrupt. Mail-in ballots, you can never have a real democracy with mail-in ballots. And we, as a Republican Party, are going to do everything possible that we get rid of mail-in ballots. We're going to start with an executive order that's being written right now by the best lawyers in the country to end mail-in ballots because they're corrupt. And you know that we're the only country in the world, I believe, I may be wrong, but just about the only country in the world that uses them because of what's happened. Massive fraud all over the place.
Mail-in ballots are not corrupt. Fraud rates in federal elections are tiny, and dozens of countries use mail-in voting, despite what Trump claims. So why is the president suddenly so amped up about this again? Well, apparently someone got in his ear. Someone with a history of fair elections and a wealth of knowledge when it comes to election integrity.
Vladimir Putin, smart guy, said you can't have an honest election with mail-in voting. And he said there's not a country in the world that uses it now.
Yes, Mr. President, he would know because you'll recall that Vladimir Putin changed Russia's constitution to remain in power. Many of his opponents are either dead or in prison or in exile. Russia is notorious for vote tampering, restrictions on monitors, and rampant voter intimidation. And yes, Russia has interfered with America's elections. But perhaps the most important point is that it's unclear what the administration could actually do to end mail-in voting, since that power belongs to the states. Just ask the Constitution. Joining us in our fifth seat at the table is Sam Seder, host of the Majority Report. I don't know if President Trump forgot that he did this, but let me just play it. This is September 2024, about a year ago, when he said this to his own supporters.
You know that absentee ballots are about to go out in North Carolina? In other words, it's time to start thinking about let's vote. So important. This will be the most important election in the history of our country. So whether it's mail-in ballots, early voting, voting on the day, you got to get out and vote. We want to save our country. We're the only one going to save it. That other group of people, they're going to destroy our country. We can't let that happen. Go out and vote for Trump.
Mail-in ballots. He was fine with it.
Well, it was because his Republican strategists were panicking because they realized that they were going to lose without getting those mail-in ballots now. And I would imagine this time around, those same Republican strategists are also panicking because if he goes out there and starts to spread the word that mail-in ballots aren't going to work, this is going to be a real problem in the midterms for those Republicans, plus the fact that he has no authority to do this. I mean, he tried to pass he wrote up an executive order a couple of months ago to deal with the voting, and he got shot down by two different federal judges. So there's really there's no path for him here, and it's sort of fascinating that all it takes is one suggestion from Putin. I mean, what were they doing talking about 2020 during these meetings? Like he's like a cat. It's like no object permanence here.
Where were the staff to remind the president that it's actually not true what he claimed, which is that the federal government let me just read it actually. Remember, the states are merely an agent for the federal government in counting and tabulating the votes. They must do what the federal government, as represented by the President of the United States, tells them for the good of our country to do. That is not at all what the Constitution says. You know that because you're a conservative.
Abby,
Yeah, Sam Seder is spot on here, and Abby Phillip sets it up perfectly. Donald Trump literally leans on Vladimir Putin to bash mail-in voting. Come on. We're talking about an authoritarian who crushes opponents and rigs the game, and that's the guy Donald Trump wants to quote about our elections. Hard pass. The bigger tell is the logic. Trump waves Putin's line like it settles the debate, then jumps straight to, I'll ban mail ballots by executive order. That's not strength. That's a shortcut. Abby Phillip keeps reminding the table that states run elections, and Sam Seder drives it home. Go look at 2020. In a pandemic, states moved fast toward mail voting because that's their job. Manage the time, place, and manner so people can vote safely. Donald Trump pretending he can bulldoze that with a pen is the whole contradiction. If you actually care about voters, you don't take cues from Vladimir Putin, and you don't yank options your own voters use. You make the rules clear, you keep them secure, and you stop playing headline games.
With you, states have a huge role to play when it comes to elections. We also know that in 2020, as a result of the COVID pandemic, a lot of states went very aggressively in the direction of mail-in ballots.
Which they are entitled to do because they are in charge of the time, manner of the elections. They are in charge of that.
Even the U.S. Election Assistance Commission has studied mail-in ballots and said that there are a certain percentage, I believe like 500,000, that probably aren't ultimately delivered to their final destination. So I'd put this question to all of you. If you won the New York lottery, would you mail in your $1 million winning lotto ticket, or would you want to take it physically to the office to cash it in? I think if anybody wants to ensure that their vote is counted, the best way to do it. Well, then what about
that was a terrible analogy.
What about the Democrat Attorney General of New Jersey, who just an hour from here in Paterson, New Jersey, there was corruption and they're investigating voter fraud because there was a politician who used mail-in ballots to try to steal the election.
So voting is like I like the lottery. Let's talk about why that analogy was just terrible.
Here's the point. Donald Trump spent 2024 telling Republicans to use mail-in and early voting. Now he's calling mail voting a problem. That's a straight contradiction. When Donald Trump says use it, his crowd says use it. When he says it's bad, they say it's bad. Sam Seder calls that out, and Abby Phillip keeps it tied to the tape we all saw. Policy shouldn't change based on which side you think it helps this week. Mail voting is legal. Millions use it, including Republicans. Stop acting like it's fine one day and corrupt the next. Choose a clear position and keep it.
So like voting is a right and playing the lottery is a privilege, right? Those are two vastly different things. And the right means that you should make it free and fair. Everyone should have access to it. We should actually be trying to make voting as easy as possible so that we're more inclusive. Things like Oregon is what we should be talking about, where they have Tobias Read and automatic voter registration. That's where we should be going with this, not necessarily trying to crack down on it. Yes, we want to eliminate voter fraud, but if we want to go back to 2020, and the great irony in this, and I haven't heard neither one of you all have said a bad thing about Vladimir Putin tonight. Neither one of you all. And Vladimir Putin is someone who literally has killed his enemies, has killed his political opponents, has pushed them off roofs and poisoned them and all of these things. And he is the one who said that this is something you should deal with. Right. And he went on Sean Hannity and
I did say, by the way, that I believe the first comment I made was that he was a tyrant and shouldn't be trusted.
You're drifting from...
You know what?
You're drifting with
I give you credit. I was really talking about
This is not about Vladimir Putin. This is about voter fraud.
Say something bad about Vladimir Putin.
That is about voter fraud. But let's hear
not just
one
Paterson.
example.
I'm going to give you 5. In Paterson, New Jersey is the one.
Just 5?
No, more.
That's it?
I found a bunch.
How many votes are we
Sioux City, Iowa, North Carolina, 9, 2018, Appalachia, Virginia, 2006, Miami mayor was overturned in 97, Bridgeport, Connecticut was just overturned.
Okay.
Not every ballot.
So Joe, tell me where
not every ballot.
Tell me the degree to which mail-in voting fraud was enough to change the result of a presidential election. Where is that?
I can't pronounce the name. In Michigan,
in
Miami,
presidential election.
But not every election is about the presidential race. We also elect people at the state, federal, and local level.
But
the point I'm trying to make is
Trump
that
is making this statement
let me finish the point.
On his own experience.
Let me finish the point. Not every ballot mailed in is fraud, but it's almost always the case where you have fraudulent ballots. It's done not just by mail ballots, but paper ballots, absentee ballots. So if the president wants to secure ballot integrity in a better way, I am 100% for this. Now, you all, last segment, were so worried about the MAGA base and how they would react to troops on the ground.
Can I just ask a clarifying question of you, Joe? You said you're all for what the president wants to do, but he is saying he wants to federally, he wants the president by decree to ban mail-in voting in this entire country. Are you for that?
No idea how he's going to do that.
Okay, are you for that? Because you just said that you're for what
I'm
he
willing
wants
to
to
wait
do.
for the executive order and see if
You
it's
just said
valid.
you're for what he wants to do.
If he figures out a way to meet the requirements of the court that struck it down previously, if he figures out a way to do it, I'm for it.
He can't, though.
If he can't, then he can't. But it's a thing that I would hope, and I've actually supported the New York State legislature in doing this. I would write a check to the South Carolina legislature.
Let me ask you a
if they were
question. Are you
supporting
in favor of when you turn 18, you're automatically registered to vote?
But you're acting like
Are you
mail-in.
in favor of
You're
that,
acting
Joe?
like
Are you in
mail-in.
favor
Hold
of
on. You're
that?
acting like mail-in ballots are something universal.
This is where Abby Phillip does the basic ask. Show real evidence, not one-off stories. Sam Seder backs that up. The fraud claims Donald Trump pushes are mostly anecdotes. States have checks, signature verification, barcodes, tracking, and ballot cure. When there is an actual scheme, investigators catch it and courts step in. That's the record. The lottery analogy is bad. Voting is a right, not a game. The goal is secure access, not fewer options. Making voting easier, mail ballots, early voting, election day, helps workers, parents, seniors, and yes, plenty of Republicans. That's why even Donald Trump told Republicans to use mail and early voting in 2024. If you have proof of fraud, bring it and prosecute it. Otherwise, stop pretending isolated cases equal a national crisis. Abby Phillip keeps pressing for scale, and Sam Seder is right to insist on facts. Donald Trump keeps moving the target, but the law and the data are straightforward. Keep the safeguards, keep the options, and stop scaring voters away from legal ways to participate.
Trump was wrong. It wasn't one country. You were wrong too. It's not dozens. It's 12. 12 countries on planet Earth have
that's
12
actually
have,
not,
12 have universal.
12 in Europe.
22 have other ways of getting it not universal. So that's 34. That's 15% of the countries on Earth.
Joe, we also don't have universal mail-in ballots. We don't have that.
In some
so
cases.
the idea that, listen, it's not 12, okay, but there are over 30 countries in the world that have mail-in and ballot voting, A. And B, to your point, Sam, Donald Trump is messing with something that his voters use, okay? 24% of Republicans used mail-in ballots in the 2024 election. That is a little bit down from 2020 when there was a pandemic, but it just goes to show that you then take those voters, some of them are in the villages in Florida, they're in Utah where they automatically send mail-in ballots to every registered voter.
This point from Abby Phillip matters. A lot of Republican voters use mail ballots. Seniors, people with disabilities, and military and overseas voters who need absentee voting. Telling them mail voting is bad hurts your own side. Donald Trump keeps trying to turn a non-issue into a crisis, and it just creates confusion. Sam Seder is right. If you care about voters, you keep the legal options that already work. Mail, early, election day, and you tell people how to use them. Stop scaring your own voters away from their ballot.
The real story here, it seems to me, because you've got just a CNN poll out a month ago showed Democrats 75% more enthusiastic than Republicans at 50%. So if you're talking about getting to the election poll sites, the side that has more enthusiasm is a lot more likely to get there in the first place. This is Donald Trump worried about the midterm elections and trying to set up reasons why the Republicans are going to lose. I mean, this is a two-pronged thing. We're seeing it in terms of the redistricting, and then the other part is already start to build in the excuses. I mean, that's what's going on here, because he knows he's not going to get this past the federal judge.
There is a reason that the framers of the Constitution put this in the state's hands, right? And not so long ago, this is what the Republican Party platform in 2016 said. Federalism is a cornerstone of our constitutional system. Every violation of state sovereignty by federal officials is not merely a transgression of one unit of government against another. It is an assault on the liberties of individual Americans. Now, here we are in 2025, and Donald Trump is saying the states are just vessels to do what I want them to do.
The states are a laboratory of democracy. And
okay, that's not what he's saying. He's saying
I'll tell you what
the
I'm
states.
saying.
I'm asking you about what he is saying. He is saying the states are agents for what I want.
I don't know if that's the correct interpretation.
It's either right or
Abby,
wrong. Is it right or?
Here's the bottom line. Abby Phillip keeps it simple. States run elections and Congress writes the rules. Donald Trump acting like he can order states to follow his lead isn't how the system works. Sam Seder is right that this sounds like setting up an excuse if Republicans struggle. And the states' rights crowd switching to federal control when it's convenient, that's a clear contradiction. Keep the rules consistent, keep voting options secure, and stop moving the goalposts. What do you think? Are Abby Phillip and Sam Seder right here? Or do you side with Donald Trump on mail-in voting? Tell me in the comments, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.